Hey guys, welcome to another voiceover. My name's Sakimi-chan, and for this term's voiceover, I thought we'd tackle a male character this time. So this is a character, his name is Bruno Bucciarati. Probably didn't pronounce it correctly, his last name, but he is from JoJo again, and I really like him as a character. He is probably my second, actually, my favorite. It's him and Giorno. So yeah, I thought I would tackle him for this term, and he does have a very unique character design. So my take of him is sort of like slightly lean, but I'm not sure if I can pull that off because most of my male characters are quite a little buffer, but I wanted to make him a little bit more slim, muscular. But yes, so yeah, I've already finished the sketch, the color blocking, and the background. Because, I usually don't like to record the background process because it's a lot of experimenting, putting images together and such. But I wanted to show you guys the background process to explain how I did it. So first, I grabbed a really cool image that I thought would suit the character and the aesthetic of the character. So I went for like a fancy palace image, and I found this again on Adobe Stock. I applied a filter over it, and I applied some effects on top of it, which is basically another stock image that I put on color dodge to create this really cool glittery effect. And then another image that I put on color dodge to give the glittery effect, and then hard light to give a bit of brightness to the image, and then my zipper overlay. So these are again photo stocks that I just put on there. And yes, because his special ability is zippers, so I thought I would add that in. And then we have the sketch, and I again color blocked them on separate layer, as in the body on a separate layer, the head and the hands, because I know they're gonna overlap, so it's more convenient to have them on separate layers. And it's easier to edit that way. So yeah, with that done, let's get started. Once again, lower the opacity as always, because sketches, they only serve as a guideline when I paint, and it's a lot easier when they are a lot duller. And so first things first, I'm trying to think where is the main lighting. I guess it could be, I'm not sure yet, but I guess we can just start. But yes, so his outfit is actually black and white, black with white dot design. It's white with black dot design. So we're going to, I will be painting his whole outfit white, and then I will add the separate elements later on, always on a separate layer so I can modify it. So there you have it. And I'm gonna go with a slightly darker grayish bluish tone for shadow for now. Sometimes, I end up switching the tone of the shadow later on. However, just to get a basic volume of the character, just use a more or less a shade that makes sense, and then after that we can go ahead and edit it later. But yes, this is what we're gonna do for now, and trying to do a fairly roughish job. So I did want one of his legs to be kind of in front of the other. I wanted him to have a, one of those JoJo poses, very exaggerated. And I did want to give him a slightly curvier, slim, curvy build. Cause I don't know, I think he would look good with a curvy, slim look. Cause I did want to make him pretty androgynous. That's the look I had envisioned for him. And just quickly going over, kind of doing a very, very rough job of determining where the shadow is and where the highlight is, which could all change later on. But for now, we are just kind of doing a rough job of it, and going to switch to the skin tone. So for the skin tone, I'm gonna go for a redder dark color for the shadow, and just going to outline the muscle. And there's a zip here, but I will probably do the effect later on. And it's going to kind of pretty much establish some sort of volume. For the character. Sorry, volume as in shading the volume into his anatomy. There we go. Of course, the skin tone will change later on once I start adding in a more elaborate shadow and highlight. But you know what? Maybe I should just keep it simple. I don't know. What do you guys think? So I have finished the body portion. What I can do now is kind of intensify it, or just kind of maybe do like this. Make the outfit really stand out against the skin tone, even though, I mean, I guess his skin tone is pretty beige. However, I feel like if his outfit is really contrasting, I think it will look good against his skin tone. Next, quickly going to block in the sleeve here, and since I already have kind of put down the shade for the sleeve before, I can just use that as a guide. And same for the hand. I'm just going to very quickly kind of just do a very rushed job of where the shadow is supposed to be. Also, I noticed that I forgot to delete this part, and I'll probably have to have some sort of shadow that is, hold on one sec, maybe I can do it like this, some sort of shadow here, just so it kind of feels like, you know, the hand is hovering on top of the sleeve and also his chest, so that it gives more of a 3D look. And gonna go ahead and do the other hand now. So similar to what we did, just gonna grab the color that we've already put down to help us, like this, and head and put that hand shade. I think it helps his outfit stand out if I make his outfit a bit brighter than his skin. That way it will be a nice contrast. And last but not least, his face, which I did want to keep it a little bit feminine, but at the same time still you could tell it's a guy, especially with a bit of a semi-realism, just like Final Fantasy male character. They're manly but pretty at the same time. Some of the characters. And I'm just gonna go ahead and see if I can kind of shade the nose and the lips. The iconic JoJo lips, man. They're always so luscious. But I have to make sure his jawline is sort of sharp. And quickly gonna fill in the whites of the eyes and eyeball color. Let's go with that for now. I think his eyes are slightly darker than that. Darker blue. And then eyebrows. And then for the hair, I'm just gonna use the lasso tool. There we go. Gonna go for that dark hair. Okay. Okay. I need to give him a bit more hair. It does seem like I missed a couple of strands. Just fill that in. Probably need to also fill in the rest of his neck color. Make sure it's all there. And maybe we can have a bit of separation here and there, but for now, that's what he gets. And perhaps we can also thinking of adding a bit of drop-down shadow from his hair onto his face, especially with characters with bangs. I think they always have a really good opportunity to play on those bangs to add some dynamic shadow to the character, which always gives the character something a little bit of a realistic, extra realism. Because the more shadow, I feel at least, the more shadow you can play around with into the character, the more realistic and dynamic the shading will be. Usually I try to do that with my characters, even though, you know, it doesn't always have to make sense. This is 2D world, and artists have the ability to play on that and create unique situations that can happen in real life. So yeah, I think that's always fun, don't you guys think? But then again, even in photography, photographers use different tricks to add lighting that is not necessarily realistic into their work, and it looks great. So I mean, technically, you know, anything is, well, not anything, but a lot of stuff is possible. Anyways, I'm just going to add a bit more hair because I felt like he was missing a bit of hair, so I had to add some extra hair that I didn't add in previously. And of course, his iconic hairpin accessory, which is gold, like that. So this is my take on Bruno. Wait, this is the first pass. I'm just going to rotate it, as always. Actually, I feel like it's probably a little better. Flipped like this in terms of composition for some reason, at least for me. And of course, we have these detailing, which I will be adding on later on. We always want to layer on the character, the clothing, and on top of the skin, and also little details like chains and stuff, always on separate layer and afterwards, because there it's too much distraction if we paint it all at once. Distraction, yes. If we paint it all at once. Now what I will do is take the lasso tool and pretty much select some areas that I think could build more volume into the character. And this is basically gonna be me just stacking on more highlight slash shadow. Sometimes, you know, I go a little too far. But yeah, this is the the beginning phase, so I feel like this phase is pretty malleable. You can just go ahead and test it out. And if you are not sure, you can even copy Control Shift V to paste in place into a separate layer, which then you can erase if you feel like this is too much or if it's too weird, right? So we have this on a separate layer. You can, well, I can erase a little bit if I feel like it's too weird. And another thing that I will do is, especially with white clothing, I usually tend to add a little bit of neutral tone, especially if I go mostly grayish, bluish tone. I like to add a little bit of a warmer tone, so a little bit of yellow in there or a bit of skin tone in there, just to, so in a way, smooth out the composition. Just add a bit of that. Like that. And even here, what I can do is this blue, I'm gonna add a little bit of green. Well, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't as much, but you have to test it out to see if it works or not. It's all about experimenting a lot of times. Something like that. So in this case, I think it does work a little. And just have to go ahead and blend it down a bit. I'm also going to remove lower the opacity a bit because it is getting a bit overwhelming, especially with the sketches. And with that down, I can go ahead and start to paint a little bit more. And I am always using the standard round brush to help me paint. Of course, I suggest playing around with the hardness option to toggle between a softer brush and a harder brush depending on if you're shading or blending. Usually when it comes to sort of rough blending, I like to stick with a slightly softer brush. So usually, you know, hardness 50%, but you can also experiment to see what you're more comfortable with, as I did for myself. I pretty much, you guys know, I pretty much draw all the time, and so I do have a lot of time to test out what I'm more comfortable with. So definitely for yourself, you know, every artist is different, so maybe you prefer a more sturdy hard brush over a more soft brush. And each brush setting allows for a different effect as well, and that way a lot of artists, I believe, can create their own style or add something unique into their blending style by kind of seeing like if they like hard brush or soft brush better. And of course, combined with the lasso tool, some artists don't use the lasso tool, as I can kind of relate to that. I think in back in college, I've never, well, I rarely use the lasso tool. I didn't even know it was a thing until I started working for my second full-time job as a illustrator at the mobile company, and one of the artists, she was the one that taught me how to use the lasso tool because it was her thing, and she was a really nice artist and also very mentor-like, and she taught me how awesome the lasso tool was. And from that point on, I pretty much started using lasso tool all the time. And so yeah. And of course, your peers can also help inspire you. So in the art industry, it's definitely good to be a team player and be really nice and support each other, teach each other, and so on, because you never know if they will be like the key to you finding your own style, pretty much. Now, oftentimes, like there's of course cattiness in the art industry, but it's always better to be nice to each other, because you never know what you will gain or lose by not being a team player. Yeah, okay, so as you can see, I have started refining it a little bit by just, bringing a bit of variety in terms of tone for his outfit, adding a bit of yellow, adding a bit of greenish tone into the overall blue-gray tone that I've started. And that is another key to kind of paint more realistically, is to be flexible and to experiment to see what other tones go well together. And that is how realism works as well. Realism has a lot of different tones, especially in the skin, that I've noticed. Before, I never used to notice, but slowly as I keep trying, I start noticing a human skin has a lot of yellow. Well, at least for lighter skin, because I look at my own skin for reference. But for deeper toned skin characters, I find it is very similar. It's just their color, different tone is a little different. They tend to lean more towards don't want to offend nobody, but more bluish. It's blue tone for highlight, and I'm trying to remember. Oh yes, and instead of pink undertone, they have yellow/orange undertone. I learned that from a lot of backlash when I painted my Korra, and people said that my Korra looked whitewashed because it was more of a pink undertone. But you know what? I do agree with them, because I did look it up, and I was like, okay, at least I learned something from that. Something was gained from all that drama. So I appreciated that. So from that point on, at least I knew that undertone for darker skin character. But yes, for like more paler skin character, I did notice they had like a bit of yellow/greenish tone in on their face, and a little bit of purple sometimes if you have dark circles and whatnot. So yeah, I found that interesting, and if you can just incorporate a bit of that tone into your character, I think it'll look really good. But anyways, right now it's about Bruno. So right now I am using the airbrush to help me create a nice smooth body for him. Well, maybe I put that wrong. Nice smooth skin for his body. He does, all the JoJo characters look like they have flawless skin, so he will have flawless skin in my version as well. And just going to keep going with the shadow. I guess I'll make him a bit more fit than I originally thought I would. I thought I was gonna give him more of a thinner build, but I can't help it. I just want all my male character to be equally as curvy as my female characters. And just gonna carefully shade. He does have some sort of design over here, but I'm not going to paint it on right now. I will do so later on. And as you can see, I did paint some muscle definition, so what I will also kind of do is bring that somehow into the clothes, just pretending that it is like super tight on him and it's made out of the most thinnest / thickest material for the sake of anatomy. I just want to show it off because, you know, I spent time learning and I just want to paint it. It would be wasted if I did not. And plus, I do that to my female characters, so I'm gonna do it to my male characters too. So everybody has tight clothes that they can pop out of. Something like that. But it might be too much, but I will tone that down later on. Though usually I like to go ahead and make it a bit more obvious and then end up toning down as I go along, rather than painting very, very sheepishly, not putting in the detail and then later on adding more detail. I like to sometimes do the opposite. So basically I'm pretending he is wearing skin tight suit. So I have the what's it called, that muscle that's here on the guys, and then going down like that. Okay, and I'll probably tone that down later on. And same for this, so his hip muscle right here going down like that. I'm just gonna add in the wrinkles, so we'll imply it a little, but also make it just kind of make it a little bit more subtle. And that should be good for now. So I can kind of make it a little bit more subtle with the smudge tool to remove some of that anatomy detail on the clothing. And I can also start by adding in a bit of texture, little detail on the clothing. Just for the sake of tightness. And it just adds a more texture to the clothing as well. Sometimes it might be too much, but we will have to see later on as we refine the piece. Usually I won't really see it until the final, well, until further on into refining the piece, but it's all good. So yeah, this is what we have so far on this side especially. And of course I really wanted to make him like have a curvier body. Men have curviness too, especially, well, I guess bodybuilders, technically they are very curvy. They have like really, they're top heavy and then a little bit thinner on the bottom. So technically that's kind of curvy. Okay, so now I'm gonna line that. Just kind of see if I can refine the pants a bit more. And let's blend that in. Okay, line that with the lasso tool so I can really put the shadow down a bit easier. And I'm gonna see if I can really emphasize the line here. I do know in his original outfit, he does not have this line in his outfit, but you know, it does add a bit more realism to the texture of the pants, so I think it's a good add. And I'm always adding random, non-canon design to the outfit anyways. And here too, I just think he would look good in slacks, like business slacks, because technically he is in the business. He is a businessman for the mafia, but them. Okay, so that's what we have. Merge down and let's check out auto. So auto contrast, usually this is what Photoshop think of my piece. They think that this is the perfect contrast. As you can see, the skin is quite dark now. What I can do is duplicate this, auto contrast, and then remove the contrast of the skin, because it is a little too much. But I did like the contrast of his outfit. I thought that was nice. So I'm going to merge down, and then of course working on the arms now. And of course it is lacking contrast because we did it to the bottom layer. Gotta do it to the hand as well. So bringing down that highlight that I had previously put. I'm going to paint the skin real quick. I'm gonna add a bit of this color that I had put down, put that in there, and then put that bright white color there on that sleeve and the hand too. Okay, I probably have to come back to the skin tool and work on that later on, but for now this is what we have. Okay, now it's time to flip it over again. So we're just gonna flip over every time, every 30 minutes. Kind of like food, I guess, if you cook it. Okay, so now I'm gonna work on the face. Usually, I would leave the face last, but recently I've been trying to work on the face a little bit in advance because sometimes I do tend to use several different tones on the face that is slightly different from the body, and sometimes I end up having to redo the body color palette or changing it because the face wouldn't match the body, so I would match the body to the face because I don't want to touch that face again, because I would rather keep the face intact than the body. I would rather redo the body than the face, because the face is like one thing I have to get right and very fussy with, so once I like the face, I'm not changing it. But yes, let's go ahead and work on the face a little. So right now I have it on a separate layer. That is how I'm going to work on the face, and I'm just gonna start by adding some color to the face. So right now I'm thinking, okay, first what I'll do is copy the lines, and then I'm gonna basically paste it onto the face so that I can move it around and see if it might be a bit better. And at the same time, I feel like I need to work on the neck a bit too. Yes, because it does seem a little weird right now. I have to see how I can make it a little less weird. Gonna add a bit more shadow here. Maybe the neck is just too long. Maybe I can lower the head. Maybe make the head a little bigger. Rotate it. Don't rotate it. Just testing it out. Let's kind of bring it down a bit. And going to add a clear line of where the shadow is. And might need to redo the structure of the neck, but first let's try to work on the face. So I'm gonna go ahead and use a bit of blue here to shape the jaw. Maybe I can make him have a bit of his hair tucked behind his ear so I can paint the ear. And then I can kind of define the jawline a bit better. And then the neck. I'm gonna paint back some of that hair. And go up here and add some shadow underneath here. Add a bit of highlight underneath the chin. Add a little bit of highlight here and paint the Adam's apple highlight. Like that. Okay, somewhat like that. But I think the issue is probably need to make the head a bit bigger. So I'm just going to make it like here and remove a bit of length to the neck. And also I feel like might need to increase, actually probably not increase. Okay, maybe I should make the hand what if I do it like here? Maybe I can hide the neck if I rotate the hand like this. Yes, these are all tricks to hide your mistakes that I do often. Whatever makes it look better. Add a bit of highlight there. Extend the neck. Bring that color. Do we need to have a... yeah, I think. Let's rotate. Maybe I'll figure it out if I rotate it. I think it's his hairstyle. It's kind of hard to... It's a challenging hairstyle, as with a lot of JoJo characters. Let me see what I can do. Maybe I can cover it up. But if I cover it up, that means I have to try to move it around a bit, see what looks less weird. Maybe I can extend the clothing color. No, I don't think. No, the other one was better. And maybe I can remove a bit of the length of the neck like that. And also, gonna remove this part, clean up the hair silhouette. And can I make him a little bit slanted? Like slanted a little. Have the Adam's apple present. So now I think it's a little less awkward, but still a little awkward. We'll keep working on it. I'm going to go ahead and switch to working on the hair for a bit. Like that. Give it a bit of blue sheen, as a lot of black hair tend to reflect blue sheen, blue highlight. After that, what we can do is I'm going to make his head a little bit wider. Going to the lips. And we'll pick a slightly warmer tone, pinker tone than the skin tone to have the feel of the lip. And then going in here with a shadow. That. Guess maybe we need a bit more volume. I'm gonna go ahead and put a bit of shadow underneath the nose to keep it nice and chiseled. And then going back here, getting a slightly darker but yet still colorful shadow, put it in for the nostril, and then refine the eyes, and at the same time just kind of fix the shading as I go along. And probably need to change the face up a bit. Let me play around with the shading for that. Should I give him ears? Because in a lot of his art, they don't give him ears because his hair is covering the ears. So maybe I should just leave the hair kind of just hiding the ear. But I really need to nail that face though. His face is like manly, but he has really pretty eyes. Really pretty eyes. So I gotta get a nice reference I can look at. Even though I know what the character look like, it's always good to have a very, very big reference to look at. There we go. So his eyes are very, very prominent. And he's got the most intense eyeshadow and eyelash. So I have to replicate that I did notice that his bang is actually not really hiding his eyebrows, so gotta make sure it doesn't hide on my version as well. Sticking as closely as I can to the actual character. Let's give a bit more definition, a bit more angular chin to the character. I'm also going to use a slightly darker color for the jawline. A bit of highlight underneath the chin, followed by shadow here. And also add a little bit of a skin palette on inside the shadow area. Going to lasso this and here too, so I can make sure I add the shadow to that area where the bang is, and then let's add a bit of hair strands. So this is what I have, just kind of making his jawline a bit more angular. I'm going to rotate this again because, especially with the face, gotta be careful with having painting only on one side, because the face especially is tricky, so have to make sure it is fairly acceptable in all angles, and can also kind of play around with the angle of the face like that. Okay, we'll go with, sorry about that, we'll go with this for now. And need to bring the eyes a bit closer, maybe. I gotta be careful with the strands of hair on this side. I'm gonna go ahead and make the top shadow gray, the bottom shadow warm tone, and I will also kind of clean up the hair strand like that. And now gotta draw refine the eyes. The eyes is like the most important thing ever. And of course on a separate layer to be safe, just to be safe. Maybe I need to bring his mouth down a little. Down a bit. And I'm just going to duplicate at least as close as possible to the maybe it might be too much. I'm trying to duplicate that look, that JoJo look, in a more realistic style. I'm gonna put a bit of shadow on top of the nose. Nope, remove that immediately. I saw and I didn't like it. Probably I would move those lips up, and also probably move the eyes over just a tad so Well, that's what we have, so it's a lot of experimenting, and then maybe make his nose a bit wider. Like that. I wonder if it'll look okay. And what I'll try to do is, let me see if I can slightly add some shadow on this side of the face as well. So I just isolated that and is going to add a bit of shadow around with some shadow here. Let's give him a bit of open mouth. See if that looks better. Sometimes, you know, it's about a bit, just a little tiny bit of open mouth to make the face less awkward. You just gotta try it out to see. That, and I'm gonna try to slightly add a bit more shadow to the jawline. That. I'm going to add a bit more shadow, contour his jawline a bit more, especially on this side. Trying to make sure it doesn't look too weird. Don't want it to look very refined. And I'm gonna copy paste the top lip and make it a little darker. I'm going to, let me see, this is before, after. Okay, I kind of like a bit of the before, so what I'll do is bring back some of the before, but keep a bit of the after. That's why I like painting on two separate layers, especially when it comes to face changes. I gotta make sure it's perfect. Let's see what else can, okay. I'm gonna see if I can subtly move this over here. Just by a bit. That. And let's see if I can kind of bring this up a bit too. And with that, I will have to paint over a few things. First, I'm gonna paint over the cheek to remove the hair from the face. I will be re-adding those hair back later on, but for now it is in the way. Yeah, it happens a lot. You have to paint over and paint back many times sometimes. I think maybe this is a little bit better looking. And I'm also going to bring the shadow down a bit more, and I'm going to make the nose a little more square at the top here. Like that. And hopefully I can add some action lines like in the JoJo universe. And I do see that intense, that dip there in the anime as well. So maybe if I add that, it'll look more like part of the series. A bit more true to the anime and the manga. And then just have a refine the eyes. I'm gonna see if I can actually add those same lines as you see in the anime. The same sort of action lines like this, and then you would have like a highlight here on top. Oh well, actually, you know what? It's not too bad. Then you have the eyelid crease like here. I'm going to add a bit of that eye bag look because I love eye bags on eyes. It just makes the eyes more prominent and pretty. Who knew that? And then the eyelashes. His eyelashes is very necessary for sure. It is always a signature for JoJo characters to have really, really prominent bottom lashes and top lashes too. Here we go. I'm going to curve the nose line up here. And let's see, kind of want to make a bit more flat on this side, going down a bit more flat and not curvy, so it does give a more masculine, slim masculine face, even though what's on the face is a little feminine. He does have very angular chin, so I want to see if I can do that. Give him angular chin and add some black shadow line. Actually, maybe I won't give him wrinkles. Maybe keep his eyebrows a bit raised. And sharp nose. So this is before, this is after. Well, I do kind of like a bit of the before, so what I usually do if I like a bit of the before, I will copy it, paste it on top, and then kind of adjusted it to whatever changes I've made. You know, sometimes it adds to it, sometimes it doesn't, so you gotta think about it, see if it adds to it or not. Yeah, it doesn't really change too much. Actually, no. Definitely does not make it better, but yeah. Maybe just a bit. Okay, I'll keep a little bit of it overlapped on there. Maybe I can So this is the face. Kind of feel like his nose could be a bit more forward or high. And also the eyes could be a bit more, a little bit in the back, a bit more in the back, like that. And let's see what else. And maybe the cheek could be a little bit more poofy, just a bit. I know I slimmed it down before, but maybe it looks a little better a bit with a bit of meat. So, and then I'm gonna see if I can angle the eyebrows a bit. So this is before, this is after. And let's see if I can give him a little bit of an open mouth. Would that make it look a little better? Open mouth. Or closed mouth. But with a heavy shadow. I don't know, I just want his lips to be puffy like in the anime. Add a bit of highlight here. Give a bit more volume on top. Like that. Okay, maybe if I kind of extended the shadow a little. Okay guys, so this is the phase of the drawing where I work on the face and I spend like 50% of the time on the face and the rest the other 50%. But yeah, this is usually how it goes for a lot of stuff, unless I nail the face first try. But oftentimes I need to rework the face many times before I'm happy. I selected the nose because I want to see if I can add like, ooh yes, a bit of a bright shade up here just to really emphasize that prominent Greek-like statue nose. And let's see if it would help if I add a little bit of highlight here, maybe a bit here but not too much, and of course on the chin as well. Actually, you know what, it's not too bad. So if I just keep it like this. Sorry, I'm like looking at both screens. I have two screens. I like to have a smaller preview on the side, so I'm looking. And usually this is how I can tell if it's going the right. I mean, it's definitely better than before, so I'll go with this for now. I might work on the face a little bit off camera. As I've said, I like to fuss over the face and usually spend a bit too long on it. And there's not much to talk about other than I'm changing a lot of stuff and repetition, so I might work on it a bit off camera and then I will be right back. Or I won't be working off camera. I'll see you guys soon, okay? Alright guys, so we're back, and as you can see I did do some work off camera. It's not too much, so I'll show you what I did. Pretty much I just added a bit more highlight to the shadow, just a bit of skin tone here. I added a bit of orangish color here. I brightened his skin up a bit with highlight color, and yeah, that's pretty much it. And fixed the work on the nose just a bit, so we're good with that. after the finish, I mean, after the face is sort of finish-ish, like. Oh yes, and I try to auto contrast, see if it's too much. Usually it helps with making it look a little nicer, so we'll stick with that. As you can see, the body is in need of contrast and lighting rework, so that's what we will be doing now. I'm gonna flip this once again. Yes, as you can see, the face is a little bit more refined, so now we have to make the same sort of refinement to the body as well. Before I do that, actually, let me see. Okay, never mind. I was checking if I painted too much of the neck on the head layer, but I think it should be fine for now. So what I'll do is work on the body now. I'll be bringing the highlight color that I've used on the face down onto the body to make it look a bit more even, and at the same time I'm going to also start adding highlights. So let's make that area a bit brighter. So all the highlight is gonna be towards this side. And of course, you know, sometimes it could be too much. 1 second. Sorry guys. So I forgot to mute the music I play in the background while I do my voiceover, so apologies if you guys heard that. I'm not sure if it's too loud or what, or disruptive, but it shouldn't be too bad. It's only been 2 minutes. Yes, I had to turn that off. Anyways, let's get back. So all the lighting, gonna try to make it on this side. I'm gonna add a little bit of highlight there, and here going to add a bit of that fold on the shoulder, and of course we have the collarbone here. And I think this should be getting there. I'm also going to add the shadow, of course, on the stomach as well. Zoom out real quick. So let's clean this up a bit, because it does need a bit of cleaning. Okay, let's select a bit of that color that we've used on the face, that I've edited onto, well, painted onto the face, and start using it throughout the body. So it is a little bit paler and less dark. Here we go. And I'm going to kind of edit this, intensify it for a bit. Okay, I'm going to rotate this again just to have a look, see if it's anything weird is going on. I usually do this a couple of times just to kind of verify if everything's okay. Okay, so I think it should be fine. After touch up the clothing a bit, and also trying to make sure that the clothing aligns with the body anatomy. So I'm gonna add the landmark here. and probably need to blend this in a bit and also try to sharpen it at the same time. I'm also going to kind of line the skin for a sec and really go in here and use a little bit of a sharper or less soft solid round brush to put in the ab detail, just because we don't want to have too much soft shading going on. Gonna add that in. There we go. I'm going to lasso and select that peck and kind of bring it down, and also need to have a bit of shadow to really emphasize the peck here as well. Maybe I'll make it a little less noticeable and then add a bit of definition onto the chest. Gonna add a little bit of a flatter surface onto the chest by adding in some shadow, refining the shape as I go along. Add a bit of definition here of the other peck and shading a bit of separation here. Then really emphasize the abs, as well as definition of the rib cage and that the muscle over the rib cage. This requires a bit more of a closer up painting job. So there we go. And let's see what else. I'm going to go here to refine that. I'm gonna select the top of the clavicle and add a dull, this color right here, just once, and then select that color that it's created and blend it onto the collarbone. And of course, you know, it needs a bit more work around the area as well. It's definitely not systematic. You definitely have to look and kind of gauge if it looks right and then fix whatever you need to. So that's usually what I do. Add a bit of highlight on top of the arm muscle. Arm muscle. Add a bit of highlight on this muscle here. I think I might need to separate the neck shadow, the neck shading from the head shading. So I cut it and then put it on the body layer. This way I can really play around with the whole neck. So I'll add a little bit of highlight on that side. Back to shadow, which I think we need. Oh gosh, just selected the area where I'll be putting in the shadow for now. I'll put a bit of the yellow highlight. Put it here. Like that. And then gradually paint that in. Put a bit of, what's this called? Tendon. It's kind of hard to see the neck also with the hand there, but yeah. So I'll have to see what I can do to make this work. And no, I don't like it. Go back. Let's see. Yeah, needs additional detail. I have to figure this out. Maybe if I add just a bit of highlight here for that lovely Adam's apple. And soften this. Bring it down. So we got the Adam's apple. And I'm going to add a little bit of highlight. I'm going to clean that up. Maybe I will do a little more contrast, play around with the contrast a bit more. Like that. Yeah, so yeah, now I think it matches a bit more, but I'm not sure if the neck might be a bit tad long. But what I could probably do is just lower the head and yeah, I think it's too long. I will readjust it. So I'm going to move the head down, select the neck, and then move the shading down accordingly to match the head. Like that. Just kind of try to match it up as close as possible. Like that. Okay, not really digging that. Maybe I can rotate this. Nope. Can do it like, move it down like there. Move the head over with the warp tool. Just kind of move it around a bit to see if it might make it look better. And then I'm going to move him up. Move him up, and then I can extend his leg a bit more down. Move that up, and we are good. So I think this looks better with a bit of a slightly shorter neck. So yes, this is what we have. And at this point, it's all about just refining and whatnot. Let's rotate back once again. Yeah, I think it's a lot better now. I still feel like I probably need to work on the head and the neck connection so that it doesn't look too abrupt. So I'm just going to blend this in. Erase a bit here and there. And for sure the hair, I think we can do some extra work for the hair. So I'm going to select a bit of the hair on top here and adjustment contrast, make it really dark. Just like the anime, he pretty much has this sort of highlight on the hair, and you know what? This is very universal to black hair. And especially if you want to make it shiny, just squeeze two highlights together with black and bluish combination for shadow / highlight. Usually looks quite good. And then I'm going to select that area, create another layer on top. I'm gonna go for a more bluish, actually let me go for more of a bluish tone and bluish tone. add that highlight. And bring it over here and bring it up onto the head as well. Like that. So it's looking very shiny. And I'm going to lower it just a bit in case it's too much, so we'll merge down. Now it's time to work on the outfit a bit. Okay guys, so I have somewhat of a reference, so let's go ahead and try to refine the clothing a bit. I'm gonna start off with the side, adding that volume to the clothing, making sure it's nice and nice and even. So we got a bit of volume there. Gonna use the lasso tool and going in and adding that shadow, and at the same time I'm gonna zoom in, try to also blend in the skin close to the shirt, the jacket, and trying to blend it in as much as I can. Alternatively, I can also use the smudge tool to help me blend a little quicker. Sometimes I feel like just blending it manually, sometimes not. I'm gonna go into the clothing, refine that a bit, add some highlight. Going here, add a bit of shadow to these areas, and then I'm going to shade this area a slightly different color tone. Go in here again, add in additional shadow, and just gonna bring that down. That down, and also blend that in using the airbrush to help ease it. And then darken that area. Gonna go ahead and extend that, and I'm gonna keep sort of blending it in this sort of fashion where the warm tone is on top and the shadows on the bottom with the slightly bluer shadow. So yeah, and I'm going to use the lasso tool again to help me do this a bit quicker. Add a little bit of highlight to there, and once again lasso tool it up, add that in, then go here, brighten that up, and bring the color down like this, and Now this side's turn. I'm gonna try to add a little bit of shadow around here to kind of paint a little bit of a fold onto the side flaps of the clothing. Oops. Clean this up. Now for the shoulder, I'm going to unlock the layer. For the shoulder, we might need to do a bit of work, so I'm gonna add a little bit of a skin tone on top, add a bit of shadow over it, select that with the lasso tool and blend that out. Add a bit of skin tone in here once again, softly blend that out. Same here, let's bring the skin tone or beige color down, but at the same time have to still sort of keep that shadow that we first established. I'm just going to go ahead and keep that. I'm gonna bring the beige color, highlight color down like that. Okay, maybe bring it down a bit more and bring the sleeve color, sleeve highlight, make it a little rounder. Add some folds here. There we go. Let me see. Okay, I'm looking at the preview on my other monitor, so I feel like this area needs, the shadow needs to go this way, and also needs a bit more shadow here. I'm going to use the quick blend trick with the smudge tool here, and just going to let it blend, and also at the same time gonna add that highlight. There we go. Now gonna zoom out, flip it over, have a look. So as you can see, you can start to feel the form a bit better. I'm going to make this a little bit more subtle. And same with this side. On this side, I'm gonna try to sort of blend this in a bit more. I don't think I can blend it too much. I think maybe it'll be better if I bring this up like that, and then also blur this a bit more. Gonna add some more wrinkles. Also use the lasso tool to help me isolate the sleeve silhouette. Same process, I will use just a little bit of a darker tone to highlight the silhouette, or shade the silhouette, and then I'm going to very softly add in the shadow like that. It does look poofy. I'm going to slim his arm down one side at least, or actually maybe not that much. Maybe I'll slim it down this way. And it's gonna look somewhat like this. Gonna add just a little bit of highlight down here. Okay, now moving on to the sleeve and also the hand, because we haven't really worked on the hand too much, so we'll work on the hand. And first thing I usually do is line it to give me a rough guide of how to shade the fingers. So I'm just going to line and also add volume / take away volume, but mostly to line it. Add a little bit of shadow on that knuckle. And of course, the thumb. One, two, three, four. Oh wait, hold on. I missed one finger. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, maybe it shouldn't be that. Maybe I can make it a little smaller, like that. 1, 2, 3, 4. And probably maybe bring this over. And bring this, no wait, it needs to be tilted. Like that, okay. So I'm also at the same time fixing the hand angle. I feel like the hand needs, maybe I should make this part a bit darker so that the hand could stand out a bit more, because it was kind of blending together, so just change that up. Add a bit of highlight there. Add a little shadow to kind of go with the flap here. Add a bit of definition for the fabric, and also he's got some design elements. I'll do that later. And now for the hand. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and add that shadow impression. Like that. There we go. And fix how the hand looks and whatnot. Apply the shadow, so highlights coming from that side, so we have to shade the fingers to match. And just go ahead and do that. Add a bit more shadow. Oh, I don't think that works, so I'm gonna just go back to what I had before. I'm going to shade the thumb right here. Highlight, bit of highlight here. No highlight here because it is folding, so I don't think the light will be casting on this area of the thumb, but definitely this part of the thumb. There we go. Sorry I'm so quiet, I'm just super focused right now. This is the phase where I become a little bit more focused, so I'm not talking as much, but basically just a bunch of editing, refining, correcting the mistake, the rough color blocking that I did earlier. It's a lot of that usually, especially towards 1 hours to 2 hours in. I become a bit more into correcting stuff and whatnot. So we finished the hand. What I can do is do a little auto contrast or contrast it myself. And after, I'm gonna work on the sleeve a bit and then the pants, and we'll do another pass overall and so on. Alright guys, let's continue. I took a short break, so now we're back to work on this a bit more. Alright, onto the sleeve. So I'm gonna select the color that I previously used on the silhouette of the sleeve here. I will be using that on the sleeve here as well. Before that, I have to establish a seam here. Just gonna highlight / shadow a line over here. And also, I'm going to sort of matte this look by cancelling out all the shine in the middle. And see if we can sort of add a little sleeve fold here, but I'm not sure. So I'm just gonna add a bit of sleeve fold, but it might not look good. So we'll try it out first and see if it's any good. If not, then we'll switch back. I'm gonna try to extend the shadow all the way up and have the highlight in the top, at the top of the arm. And then I'm gonna see if I can use a prettier blue, and then just kind of put that at the bottom. I also was wondering if I can just like do this, add a sharp shadow here, and see if I can kind of move the arm a bit, like here. I wasn't really feeling the position of the arm previously. Now that we have done that, so now the new issue is the shoulders blending into the background. So the only way we can remedy that is make sure the background is a little darker than the clothing. So what I'll do is kind of make the background a little darker so his clothes can stand out. Same for here, but I'm not sure if it's better to make it darker or brighter yet. So I'll actually remove that. And then actually I'm gonna create another layer called multiply, and we'll just multiply behind the clothing, especially, but only in areas where the clothing is bright. So we'll contrast it with darker background. But if it's the other way around, if the clothing is darker, then we'll just keep the background bright in the back. So I'm gonna add a little bit of shadow here, and there. So what I'll do next is I kind of want to bring this up. Maybe I still want to have this, but this not as much. No, still do it. We're still gonna have this too. Okay, so I just want to make sure the outfit stands out more or less. So, yep. Or maybe we can actually make this part darker. Okay, I'm gonna try that. So I'm just going to select this whole area and darken. That way it contrasts well with how bright the background is in the back of there. After that, I'm just gonna go back and paint back some of those areas. And of course gotta paint the neck in as well, now that we can't hide it with the hand no more. So paint that back. And at the same time, I think this might be a little better this way. Just going to extend the neck. There we go. Like that. Probably need to spend a bit more time on the neck after, but for now should be okay. I'm gonna slightly add a bit more volume to the neck on this side. Gonna see if I can make it a little brighter. Actually, I should probably do this on a separate layer. I'm gonna undo, and then I'm gonna create another layer and select this whole area here, and I'm gonna brighten this area, darken underneath the clavicle for volume, and highlight. Actually, will that work? It might. Pretty much just want to make sure that area is bright. Give a bit more highlight here. Some more shadow around this area. Gonna create a bit of wrinkling here. There we go. Actually, maybe I should bring the neck a little bit over to this area. And then try to paint the clavicle in. See if we can actually do that. What's that? I mean, it's not bad, but it's not. It's a little better. I'm still not sure about the neck. I think I need to work on it a bit more. See if we can make it work somehow. Maybe if it was all shaded in. I don't think so. Let's flip it a bit. Okay. So for sure this part needs to be in shadow as well. To go with the shadow on the other sleeve here, so continuation of that. And we can also try to put these area also in shadow. But it might be kind of pointless because it doesn't really do much for the composition. But for sure I want to add a bit more shadow to contour the sleeve. And what else can I do here? Add some more highlight here. What if I think, okay, definitely the head might need to be a little bigger. And the neck probably needs to be a bit thinner. And needs to be something like this, where you can see a bit of the neck going down, and then the back muscle here. Probably need to blend that in a bit. Oh. Just going to blend that in a bit more again. Let's add a bit of shadow here to emphasize the muscle on the arm. Blend that in. And add a bit of shadow between the clothing and the skin. Continue this right here. Bring the shadow all the way over and refine this area. I'm gonna add a bit of skin tone again towards the end. Like that. And I'm gonna add some highlight here to go with the highlight on the arm. And then select the underneath of this area. I'm going to use the airbrush to blend this area in and just kind of really make sure the armpit is very, very tight. Tightly on the arm. I'll paint a little bit of folds into the sleeve. Like this. It's very subtle. I'm gonna add a little bit of shadow here just to contour the anatomy of the arm. Extend the yellowish highlight over a bit. I'm also gonna try to, probably not, I was going to kind of put the shadow for the anatomy of the arm, but maybe that might be a little much. Extend this a bit. I'm going to go into the smudge and smudge some of these folds so it's not too prominent. Okay, zoom in and pretty much refine a bit more. Extend the arm just a tad. Right. Bring that over just a bit. And now for this part, so This part is a little tricky. What I probably need to do is make this whole area in the shadow. And then what I can do now is select this color, the yellowish tone, and I can go ahead, put that highlight into just the edge of the part I just shaded, like that. That way it feels like it's really wrapped around the character, because you know this whole area is in shadow, so we have to make sure the clothing also kind of follows similar shadow guidelines. Of course, probably need a bit of highlight here. And trying to follow along the shadow area of the abs, and the rest would just be sort of refining and adding additional details and cleaning up what I just put down. As you can see, it is very, very soft looking, so I'm gonna go back in and sort of sharpen up some of those areas. Can also continue to add a seam. That maybe I won't add the seam. Definitely feels a bit more skin tight. You can erase a bit of it. I'm gonna go back into the skin tone and blend this in. Even though it is very soft, it is not blended in properly. So blend that in a bit better and smooth out some of the areas that I have blended. Also, use a slightly harder brush to make some of these areas a little sharper, because I did blend it with airbrush, so it is a little soft looking, so I gotta make sure it's not that soft. So yeah. Continue on here. I'm gonna use a bit of that grayish tone and then just kind of blend that. Let me see if I can add a little highlight here. There we go. I'm going to do two little areas for the nipples. Add a little highlight here. I'm very lazy when it comes to male nipples. They're just not as detailed. And for here, I'm going to actually add a bit of that bluish tint inside the shadow. Keep it sharp on the other side. And add a few little dents. I guess that's how I would describe it. Bring this all the way here and blend that together. And just blend it like that. And then I'm gonna put the landmark here. Actually, maybe it should be a little higher Because he is lifting up his hand somewhat, so I'm wondering if I should even sort of select all this, copy Shift C and copy Shift V to paste, and move this up a bit, because that way it'll feel more like the pec is lifted up, you know? Meanwhile, this pec is sitting in a more slouchy position. Let me see if I can emphasize that this pec is a little bit more lower than the other one. And of course I have to bring a bit. Actually, what I'll do is, instead of selecting only this part, I'm going to select this whole part. That way I don't have to kind of play around with the fabric. So I'll just like bring this all the way down. Like that. So this is definitely lower. And I can just erase this, and it'll be a lot easier to kind of correct afterwards. Not much work to be done. Kind of like that. And also what I'll do is going to select this real fast, highlight this area, and I'm gonna add a little bit of shadow like that, so we can have a clear definition of how thick the fabric is, because I do want it still to look like fabric. And perhaps we can add a little bit more shadow underneath here like that. There. So let's zoom out. Before, after. Rotate once again. Oh, sorry about that. So this is before, this is after. Okay, maybe this might be a bit too crazy. I'm gonna soften this part to make it look more like that. And maybe for the shoulder bit, what I can do is copy, paste, warp, and kind of make sure it connects. So make sure that, oh god, this part needs some work. This is the Adam's apple, and then the rest of the neck. So we have the collarbone here, goes into the muscle, and then the arm. And we're gonna have to bring this over a bit like that, so that we can connect this part very subtly, shade it very subtly to here. So I'm gonna just line that up and then add some maybe it doesn't work that way. I'm gonna see if I can sort of delete a bit of that. No, I'll keep it. We'll just blend this in. Hopefully I can hide it later on. But yes, back to this part. I'm gonna merge it down for now, and then I'm gonna select it, go to liquify, and then can play around with it a bit. Probably need to change this the belly button a bit after too. So yeah, for now I think this should be okay. I'm going to bring down the collarbone and the muscle arm part like that. Bring this up, bring this down. Okay. See how that works? It's okay. Make the head a little smaller. Actually not too sure about this. These are like keep it like that. I'm gonna go in here, thin out the collar bit. Actually, gonna move that bit over a bit more. Like that. Okay. What else can I do? Probably redo this part. So what I'll do is continue the ab area. Gonna paint the belly button in. Should be highlight. And then actually it should be a little bit over here. Yeah, I think that's what it is. Gonna have to bring this over so that it's in the center, I think. Let me just do the ab first. So belly button here, or actually, keep it there. Gonna make another layer, and I'm going to make sure this bit is a bit more go. Go. Put this in the shadow. Highlight this bit. I did want the cloth to be at least a little thick, and painting it the skin tight might make it feel more thin, so I had to see what I could do to change that. So I kind of removed the skin tight effect. Can bring a little bit of it back. So kind of like this, merge down. And should I bring this down a bit more? Kind of paint a bit of a shadow here. Add that shadow And then shadow on the pants. Shadow on the pants on this side. And let's add shadow here and highlight in the shadow on this side. Like that. Add a little bit of yellowish tone inside the shadow. Bring down the pants lining and try to kind of refine and blend. So it's all about blending now. Okay, so this is before, after. Before, after. I feel like before was a little better because it felt more dynamic, so let me bring back a little bit of that before. Show a bit of the white and some highlight here where the pocket is. Going to add in a bit of that highlight and blend that downward. So add a bit of highlight on the top of that. Remove the belly button. I'm going to paint the belly button a little lower. And so that it might be a little less weird looking. At the same time, I kind of wanna bring this down a bit too. I don't know if it'll look good though, so we can just give it a try. Should be okay. Let's add a bit of definition to the muscle. Erase a bit of that, merge it down, so now at least you can get the impression. Okay, select that bit and put that shadow all the way down. Okay, zoom out, have a look. Hey guys, so this is gonna probably be it. So I did do some work off camera and I switched it around a bit. So I believe this was what we had previously. And this is what I kinda got it to this level. So I just did a lot of editing. Now at this point, I'm not really sure if I should pursue this further because I keep looking at it and I'm just not feeling it. So usually this would happen to me a few times during the process. So if that happens, what I usually end up doing is either sort of changing the view of the face, so draw a whole new head, or I will scrap it and try to do another composition. For this one, maybe I could try to switch up the head later on, but I won't be showing that to you guys for this tutorial because my brain is pretty much fried on this piece. Like, I've been working on it for a few hours and I don't know. The hair has beaten me, I would say. The hair is very challenging. I think maybe it would work up better in a different angle, but yes, I just wanted to do this final just a notice for you guys, just so you guys won't be confused why I stopped here and stuff. But I will still be including you know, the rest of this voiceover plus this version of it, although it is definitely not finished. But like, if I remove the head, it works. It's just I need to work on the head. At least that's what it feels like to me. Maybe I can find the time next month to finish this off camera. Maybe sometimes I just work better without recording. With recording, there's always pressure of being watched, so although it doesn't bother me too much, it still kind of is back at the back of my head. So yeah, anyways, I apologize for this abrupt not really complete voiceover, but I hope you guys still kind of enjoyed it. And yep, I'll see you guys in the next voiceover tutorial. If you guys have any suggestions, let me know. If I like any of it, I'll try to do that. But if not, then I will continue to do these type of voiceover, just kind of casual voiceover. But yeah, definitely for this piece, the thing that really the most challenging part of this piece is definitely the head, because if I just take off the head, I could probably prop another head, maybe with another angle. But yeah, this angle is very tricky because it just is. Let me see. Let's have a look. So this is okay. I forgot. I didn't really save the steps, the previous steps leading to that. I only saved it a little bit. But yeah, definitely. It's just a really tricky, the hair really kind of cuts the head, because he does have very short hair, so it just cuts at literally at the jawline. So it is a really tricky hairstyle, because then it might throw off the whole image. I don't know. Maybe, you know what, guys? Should I just work a little bit on camera? I think I will. Sorry, guys. I just pretty much trolled you guys a bit. I think what I could do maybe is at least try to finish up a little bit and then call it a day. But definitely the hair is what's getting to me in terms of challenge. So yeah, everything else is fairly reasonable to do, for me at least, because really the most difficult part to get right is the face and how it connects to the neck. The neck part took me quite a bit of time to get right, because it did look kind of weird. Like it was challenging, let's just say that, especially for the haircut. It just cuts at a very awkward place, and especially in this type of angle, even worse. But anyhow, let's... Why isn't that showing up? That is strange. Oh, that's why. Okay. But I think I could perhaps do a bit of work on the clothing, and hopefully that might make it look a little more acceptable. But otherwise, we will be ending it there. Anyhow, let's continue to just refine the pants. So I did do a bit of work on the pants, as you guys have seen. I did paint a bit of curvature to his leg, as I wanted them to be a little curvy. That, and I did actually on the skin, as you can see, I did make it a little matte. So by doing that, I end up covering the highlight with a bit of beige tone, like darken the skin where the highlight is to matte, give it a matte look. Perhaps, you know, I think perhaps it's a better contrast to the clothing, which is white. So always try to find that opportunity. And going to go ahead and just refine the pants, and you can see that I am toggling between soft hard function on the brush here, right here, to help me adjust the softness and hardness of the brush for blending, and also adding details as well. I'm gonna use a softer brush this time to blend the pants in that area. Add a little bit of blending on those what's it called, folds, pant folds near the crotch area. Gonna bring a bit of that warm tone over here too. Might be a bit much though. I think that should be okay. I'll bring it down a bit and bring that down a bit more. Now extending this line all the way down. Same for here, all the way down. Select this color right here so that we can keep that separation look, make it a bit obvious. And very, very small detail to connect the wrinkles. Like that. I'm going to make the brush slightly bigger and then bring up those strokes up all the way, so this will help create some sort of volume to the pants and to the thickness of his thighs. And so you can see highlight, shadow, highlight. That's always a good combination. And actually I first was taught this actually when I was I mean, I've probably done that subconsciously way before, but the first time that someone had taught me this was at a workplace, and it was through a what's it called, a live drawing session where my friend, of course he had a lot more knowledge. He was like, yes, this is the way that they taught him at his college. And he was like, yeah, you do this, you have the highlight inside the shadow. And yeah, I thought it was pretty interesting. And definitely really helped to surround myself with artists that was more experienced than me, because you learn a lot from other artists as well, especially if you work with them. And that is why once you get a job and start working, your skills will definitely level up way more than if you were in art school or is working alone at home. So yeah, that is at least one positive side of working in-house at a company and not freelancing. But both have their own perks. So yeah. Now I am just going around trying to blend stuff in, using the lasso again to help me isolate the area so I don't color outside of it, and it also makes the shading look sharp. Of course, sometimes it might look a bit too sharp, so I go back in with a softer brush and just kind of blend that in again. And it's similar to a super airbrush look where you go in with the lasso tool and then a harder brush to make your blending look a little sharper. There's a lot of back and forth, so yeah, it's very repetitive, but I feel like just keep doing it and it'll become really, really natural to you. I was gonna say something really cliche, but yes, it'll become so natural that it's like breathing or walking. I think if you guys have just 30 minutes to spare each day to practice, I think that's already quite good. A lot of you guys are very, very busy with your life, and I've talked to a few of you that have told me so. But definitely, if you can spare even 10 minutes or 30 minutes every day to practice efficiently, I definitely think it will really, really help. Just like how I used to just spend my commute time back in college to literally sketch on the commute. I think I took the train, so I drew on the train, and sometimes on the bus, and it would actually really help quite a bit. Definitely, definitely. And it's never too late to start drawing, for sure, for sure. Anyways, when did this become motivational speaking? But yes, continue on with coloring and shading. There's not much really to talk about at this point. It's just a matter of figuring out areas that, oops, that was probably really loud, my bad. Figuring out areas to kind of clean up and whatnot. I feel like this part could be a bit longer. And I'm just gonna add to it just like that. Okay, I feel like the suit is more or less not too bad. I mean, there's still a little bit of stuff going on, perhaps that needs refining. But I think we need to work on the arms a bit as well, because the arms are very, very rough looking. So let's go ahead and work on the arms. And usually I like to tackle, especially when it's fabric, I like to tackle a little bit of the smaller detail first, especially the little wrinkling near the areas where we have our joints. So bring all that, blend that in. I'm gonna add a little wrinkle here, bit of here, so gradually let it fade in. Bring in a highlight line right here, put shadow underneath it, and that becomes a fold right there. So yeah. Also, I do get a few questions about how to paint fabric. Fabric, I find, is if you have a reference that you can refer to, and if you just kind of always keep the general way of how you paint fabric, which is very systematic, at least for me, just highlight line, shadow underneath, and then sort of blend that into the arm. That's how I would paint fabric folds. And as long as you get used to that and you do that often, at some point it'll become very, very natural to you. And yeah, that's just pretty much how I kind of learn how to paint fabric. But other artists I've seen do use reference, and one artist actually, which I find their method very interesting, they just take a tissue paper and scrunch it up and then just follow that as reference, which actually, you know what, does look very much like folded fabric. So I think that is another idea if you guys are having trouble painting fabric, pretty much. But yeah, this is the way I paint fabric. It's probably not for everyone. Definitely use reference if you can. I recommend it very much. Well, sometimes I use reference for fabric. Not a lot, but sometimes. Because I don't really need that much reference for fabric. A lot of my clothing is already quite tight on the skin, so there's not a lot of need for that. Unless I'm painting like a very, very flowy dress, then yes, definitely use reference for that. Okay. I'm kind of feeling lazy about the hand. I'm always pretty meh about the hand. Actually, recently I was just able to figure out how to paint the ears properly, but before that I was also quite bleh about ears. Ears were not my favorite to paint. But yes, hands as well. And so is feet. Feet is even more so my nemesis. Feet. Let's see, zoom out. So this is a little bit more blended in. It's not too blended in, but it should do for now. Back to the bicep. I do want to follow the shape a bit better. As you can see, I pretty much just outlined the shape. I'm gonna go ahead and sort of highlight it to create a volume throughout the clothing. And last but not least, this part, oh I forgot, underneath the arm here. So I am not spending too much time on the blending for the clothing right now. However, if I was to do a more detailed render for this, it would take a lot longer, and I'll probably be zoomed in 100% to really tackle those tiny minute details, because I can go a little too crazy sometimes. As you can see, this would probably be what I would be doing, just add those tiny details in there just to give an extra bit of realism to it. But otherwise it's all about blending. Now time to tackle this hand right here. Hands are also kind of like a little bit hard for me to do. So a lot of times when I'm feeling like I'm having a lot of trouble with a hand, one tip that I would recommend is take a selfie with your hand in it and use that as reference. Trust me, it really helps. Because your imagination can only do so much. Yes. But anyways, that's how I kind of learn how to paint hands, is by taking pictures of my own hand and kind of referencing off of that, because it's actually hard to find reference of a specific pose of what you want to draw your character doing with their hands on Google. I've tried. So the best next thing is your own hand. And same for poses as well. I used to just try to do the pose. Well, back then I didn't really do any super dynamic poses or anything, just like standard trying to hold a weapon or something for fantasy paintings. But yeah, just trying to pose with a broom or something. And now I'm going to go in, since I did blend it out a bit more, just to clean that up. Even still needs a bit more volume, seems like. So I'm just going to blend that in. And I'm going to add a bit more shadow to that finger as well. So I'm gonna add a bit more shadow to this side as well, just to give more dimension. There was lacking a little bit of it little bit of dimension without the shadow surrounding the silhouette of the finger. So what happens is, usually when I finish shading the fingers individually by pretty much doing this, by contouring the silhouette of the finger with a dark shadow shade, of course after it'll seem a bit muddy, and also for me skin tone needs to have variety, so afterwards I throw in a bit of warm tone. But right now I have not gotten to that phase yet, just trying to blend stuff in. I'll show you guys once I am fairly okay with the result of it, even though this would not be acceptable when I'm doing what's it called, a more rendered piece. Even though sometimes, you know how you have those days where you just can't draw right, like everything you draw is like not as good as your standard quality. Sometimes it happens to me. I'm sure you guys have noticed as well. But I feel like as an artist, you need those days. You need those type of days in order to improve. I feel like those are the days where you kind of hit a platform and you're like, I feel like my art is not as good, but I know usually when that happens I kind of pull myself out of it and my art improves a little bit, maybe. Well, at least that's what my friend tells me. But yeah, that's what I notice a lot of times. Like I go through an awkward period with my art and then I come back out the other side a little bit better, at least. Okay, so now I'm just adding a little bit of highlight to each finger. I feel like still it's probably maybe remove that bit. Okay, so now that thumb looks so hidden inside the shadow of the under shadow of the chest. The chest shadow. Just quickly draw the fingernail. So now what I do is I go in with a little bit of a red shade. Okay, nope. There we go. Very subtly I add it to areas of the finger where you see the most red, the most blush to the fingers, pretty much. I would do this to dark skin too, even though it probably wouldn't show as much, but if you just put a dab of that, you'll have just that bit of impression of a separate tone being there and makes it more realistic. So yeah, I don't trust that this hand looks completely realistic, but we can blame it on 2D art. As long as we acknowledge that there's something wrong with it, we can always improve. Okay, and I'm going to blend that in a bit more. So as you can see, this is how that looks. And last but not least, I would need to blend this in a bit better. As you can see, there is a little bit of blotchiness inside the sleeve area. Like that. We're going to add a bit of skin tone in here, and then a bit of skin tone down there. Going back to here, at that, just kind of blend that in. So yes, this is what we have so far. Just a little bit more blended. Perhaps if I start adding his iconic outfit design, it will start to look a bit more JoJo. So that's what I'm counting on. Before I do that, I kind of want to see if I can, oh whoops, remove, that was super loud, sorry. I want to see if I can bulk just his arm up a bit. The reason why I want to do that is because this arm right here is quite bulky, so I wanted to make sure both arm is sort of similar bulkiness. Okay, now that we have sort of done a base for it, I'm gonna start adding in those designs on his outfit. Alright guys, let's get started. I'll show you guys how I approach kind of working on detailed outfits. So usually, of course, start off with the easiest base that we can create, or the basic base that we create, and then just on a separate layer I'm gonna put multiply, and I'm gonna start by painting the lines. So yeah, I just kind of trying to see if I can do a even job, but I'm not really sure. So one here, one here, one here, and just all the way down like that. And I'm just gonna see if I should move it a little. I'm gonna copy and put it on that side. Actually, it's not it's not super close together, as I see on the design. It is a little bit further away, but this part is more so here. I probably need to constrain it to the layer. I'm going to draw the other side. I'm going to erase a bit of this because it is sort of falling in between the folds, so that's why I kind of erased a bit of it. So is this one. What I'll do next is copy this whole thing, and I'm gonna bring it all the way to the edge, so we have a row of 3 patterns. I think that should do. And then it's gonna be about sort of adjusting to it and whatnot. And now back to here. So what I'll do here, I'm gonna move it a little bit over, and I have to think about how the fabric folds, because right now this side at least, it's kind of folding behind his arm, so I have to kind of draw the patterns in a way that kind of makes it feel like it's moving with the fabric. There we go. I hope that made sense to you guys. Wasn't really sure what I was talking about too much. Let's make another dot here. And just kind of keep going with the pattern all the way down. Now this side. So let's create one here. Actually, this should probably be a little higher. I'm also gonna move it a bit further away because the dots are supposed to be a little bit further apart, and probably afterwards I might have to move them around too. So, but at least this is what I'll have. Maybe I should actually take all of this and I kind of move it over a bit. Like that. And of course paint it back. And paint a bit more on the back here. Like that. I'm not sure if this works. Let's look. Well, maybe I should move this over a bit. Like here. Delete. And then going back to the shoulder now. And I'm going to go ahead and, oh gosh, I probably should make some of them look a little flatter because it is at an angle like that, a bit flat and then longer, and then another flat dot here. Actually, let me move it over a bit. And I'm just gonna bring it down. Same for this side. I'm going to move it a little bit closer to the edge. Like that. And oh yes, and the pant thankfully is not too detailed. It's just one single line, which I can definitely do because we've already got the line from previous version. Just going to do these little motifs all the way following the line. Like that. Okay, now for the other sleeve, which I'm trying to get a clear view of how it works, how that looks. It's not super clear how it is, but I do see that it's maybe I'll just do one line for now, and then another one at that side. We'll do 3 lines. Like that. And then of course the rest goes into, we'll have to draw it on a separate layer for that. But so far this is what we have for that. And then we're gonna paint a little bit on this side as well. And another down here like that. Okay. Okay, so we got that down. Now I have to go onto the hand. Just call this dot design. Dot design. Going onto the sleeve now to continue the motifs. And I'm just going to have it all the way till here. Let's extend the dot. There we go. And just kind of paint a little bit of impressions. So God, this one looks a little, needs a bit of work. Let's do it like that. And then this turn, I mean, it's here, yeah. This turn over here, it's the sleeves turn. There we go. That makes more sense. And follow along the arm. Let's do three lines of dots. 1, This is the second line. And I probably will be doing another layer of the zippers because this outfit also has zippers to them. So this is the first layer. Okay, now let me put this in multiply. Alright, let's work on the zipper now. So actually for the zipper, I did find an image that I'm going to be using to help me with that. So didn't really feel like painting zipper with custom brush because whatever it is, it's not gonna look as good as the photo unless we spend a lot of time on it. And to save on time, I like to use some photo textures to help me out. So I'm just gonna quickly try to put in some of the zippers that I see on his design. And of course, this is definitely not the final result because actually maybe I should make the zipper a lot bigger. Let's try doing that actually. Maybe we can make a really big zipper like this. Okay, and then we'll do another zipper on top of the shoulder, which is where the other zipper is for on his outfit. I'm going to bring that up a bit and pretty much just bend it to my whim. Bend it to fit the character. Let's stop here. And that is, let's see, he also has some on his shoulder as well as the collar here, but it's actually yes, the collar right here. But it's kind of, it's hard to put. Like what I could do is just paint it a little bit silver. And that's pretty much it. I'm going to merge down, darken this so that it fits the how dark the cloth is. I'm going to bring this and paint fabric surrounding it. And it still needs to be a little darker on top of that, so I'll darken that up. And now for here, darken that up. There we go. So we only have that for the sake of detail. And probably gonna copy this and put it on the arm as well. And we need another one here, but it's kind of covered up, so what I'll do is now go on the sleeve and just going to kind of curve this to the wrist again. I mean, make it visible and make it a little brighter to blend it in better, and then do a bit of custom paint job. I'm gonna brighten the zipper on the side like that, so it feels a bit more blended in. Also, we will be doing that too. Oh, 1 second. I'm just gonna copy this right here that I've already edited, bring it up here, and we're just going to, oh, I might have to re-edit this. Actually, can I yes, there we go. Now I got it. So again, we're just going to bend this, warp this, free transformation warp this onto the wrist, and there we have it. It's a little bit easier to do it this way, and of course in the design there is still a separate zipper, so I'll copy that once again, and then just going to go ahead and just put this in as part of the design. And once again on this side as well. Let's do it this way. And I'm going to keep it maybe a little straighter this time, so you can see the zipper where it ends. I feel like it probably needs to be a bit longer, so I just copy, paste onto it and sort of blend it in a little, erase it, blend it in a bit, and there we have it. I'm gonna merge it down and start to add just a little bit of shading to the edge, and maybe even a bit of puckering of the fabric around it to make it feel like it's part of the outfit, pretty much, like it's sewn on pretty much. So now that we have done that, it's time to just name the zipper design. So now it's time to draw the zipper itself, which is actually pretty interesting. So what I'll do is I'm actually not sure if I should take this or if it's gonna work or not. I'm just gonna take this. Ooh, that's good resolution. I will take this and I'm going to edit it so it is accurate to the design. So based on the design, actually it looks pretty much like this, except it has a blunt tip and it has a circular design like this, and a hole like that inside the zipper. So just going to remove that, and after that I think we can try to see if we can make this work. And also it's a little bit more angular like that. I'm gonna see if I can color balance it to add a bit more yellow to it, and also make it a bit less bright. So we'll go with that, and I will be placing it pretty much at, oh gosh, where is, placing it at the end of the putting at the end of each zipper lining. So of course it doesn't look that good right now. We're gonna do another edit later on. For now we can kind of just add those additional detail to make it look a little more legit. So we have that. I'm gonna copy, put a little zipper here like that. I know it probably doesn't follow the design exactly, And there's a big zipper on the shoulder area, and it is usually towards the top. I'm going to rotate this a bit and kind of edit this, push and pull this a bit, and then pull this here. Have it tucked underneath that. Probably needs to be a bit bigger. Okay, and where else? Oh yes, the other shoulder. I feel like we can push the size of this a bit more. And push the size of this a bit more. Gonna put this here for the shoulder, and of course I'm going to erase that so that the zipper will be on the other side. And the last but not least, there is a little bit of a zipper here. There. So here we have it, our zipper. So right now you can see that yes, there is the impression of zipper being there, but it needs a lot of work because they're all copy pasted. So we will be going to each one of them and hold on, going to each one of them to customize. So first I gotta get rid of some of these lighting. Okay, this one I will keep. So going back here, I need to add custom lighting to them. Maybe for this it's there, a bit on the side, a little bit. Oops, gotta manually paint that in. Paint the highlight in like that, and then going in here with a dark color to add volume to the thickness of the zipper, like that, so it is a bit thicker. I'm gonna do the same for this as well, and then add the light source, which is on that side. Same for this, add thickness for the zipper. This one is not too important because of how small it is, but here yes, so we're going to add that volume for the zipper. And the volume this time is gonna be in highlight. That. And after I'm done that, what I'll do is go into gradient map, constrain it down, which is Alt, go onto the gradient map, and I already have a custom one that I've made that looks like this, which adds additional gold type effect to it. So I just merge that down, and there we have it. And I can lower the, make it a little darker, and then this is the important part, is the shadow layer. Oh yeah, one sec, I know what to do. So for the shadow layer, what I'll do is copy, paste this, put the other zipper layer into multiply, and then fill it. I'm going to create a layer, constrain it down, fill it with gray, and that will be our shadow layer. And all I have to do is go in and make sure to indicate some sort of shadow for the zipper so it doesn't look like the zipper needs shadow is what I'm trying to say. Yeah. Put a bit of shadow here. I have to erase parts of it as well. Okay, this one also needs a bit, so I'll just put it on this side. So put that shadow down. There we go. So there we have it. Zipper shadow. And of course, he also has a bit of, like a lace design to his outfit. It is a little challenging, I'm not sure. Okay, let me try to do this. So he does have a bit of a lace design on his chest. Maybe it's like a tattoo or something, but I'm not too familiar. So I'll try to do one side and then I'll flip it onto the other side. So, gosh, I need a really clear reference for this because I don't want to get it wrong. I'm also gonna rotate this so it's straight on for me. And let's get started. So, starts off with a swirl like that. And then it leads to a heart like that. And then looks like this. So there's triangular design like this, and then some design that goes like that, close that, and some more triangular effects, and then some more triangular effects. So that's pretty much what his design looks like. Maybe it'll look better if I like moved it down a bit. Actually not too sure about this because since he is kind of shirtless, almost shirtless in the anime, his tattoo is a little bit higher, but I don't know if it would work here because he's shirtless. Maybe I can just like push it a little bit lower like that. Just contour that chest right there, but I don't know. I'm gonna duplicate this, flip it over so that it can cover the other side. Yeah, we'll treat it as like some sort of tattooing or something. I'm actually not sure how the rest of his outfit looks, so I will just interpret like that. So just do something with it, and I'll do a little maybe a little, I don't even know, man. I'm just trying to see if this would work, but I'm not sure how to connect that tattoo. I think this should be okay. I think after I flip this to the right angle, then I'll see how I can sort of solve this. But for now, let's go ahead and let's rotate this back to place. Remove that. So this is what I would have. Or should I like... I don't know if it would look good as if it was overlapping the chest. Maybe I can just do it like this. Move it a bit lower. And with that, I should lower this as well. And clean that heart up at least. There we go. And I'm gonna see if I can thicken the lines. Like that. Don't know if that would... I don't think it will work. Nope. Should probably also sort of fix the belly button. Just going to darken it up and smooth out the stomach a bit. Add a darker color. There we go. I'm just going to make it a little darker. And also I want to blend the chest a bit more. There we go. And as for this design, I'm going to lock that down. And I'm going to add a bit of sheen to it, especially where there is a bit of highlight. Just a bit, and then we can even lower the opacity if it's too obvious. Maybe we can even play around with this. Like that. Just testing out different layer modes. Okay, I guess this is okay as it is, but yeah. Oh, I totally forgot about the zipper on his shoulder. I was gonna do a shoulder zipper. Well, okay, first I wanna make sure the hand has a decent shadow. Cast it on the chest like this. And the zipper design. Okay, in that case I will need to grab a long zipper with nothing else, just a zipper. Oh, whoops. No, actually, I need... Yes. Do it again. Select it right this time. I'm gonna open here. So I actually wanted to do the zipper power that he has on his bicep, but I'm not sure if I can pull it off. We'll see. Let's give it a shot. So we do one here, and then another one. There we go, on the other side. And merge it down. Hold on. What's this? I'll just do it on a separate cup. Zipper effect. So we have the that going on. I do need a zipper handle. So I'll go ahead and copy this and kind of like put it here where it feels like he's holding on to it, and then I'm going to go ahead and remove the part where his finger is on, and then go here, make it in the anime when he pulls open zipper, it kind of looks like a dark color. I don't know if this actually looks good or not. Let me have a look at the proper reference. Alright guys, I'm actually not sure if I should include this zipper, and maybe, you know what, maybe I should just like keep it like a simple close zipper as well, because I feel like if I do make it large and then fill it up, it would be hiding the anatomy a bit, and one thing I don't like is hiding anatomy. That's why all the clothes I draw are very tight and stuff. So I'm thinking maybe it could be like a close zipper. I'm just going to see if I can at least somewhat blend this zipper into the skin, or have it look like it's coming out of the skin, or have the skin interact with the zipper a bit. I'm not sure. Let's see if this fits. I'm not sure guys. I feel like maybe I'll just remove it. I might just remove it, because honestly it doesn't really do much for... I don't think it does. Actually, did it? Maybe I should just keep it there for funsies. But yeah, I was previously gonna end it a little early, but I decided to do a bit more work. So hopefully that was a little bit helpful for you guys to see how you may approach kind of layering on design onto an outfit, and hopefully my method shows you something, and it was helpful pretty much, I just want to say. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next voiceover tutorial, and this time is for real. I'll see you guys later. I hope you guys had a great Christmas, or enjoyed your time with your family, or just with your friends, or by yourself with a fur baby and or whatnot. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next voiceover tutorial, and wish you guys have a great day, and I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.